Hey guys, it is time to deep dive into Spider-Man No Way Home with one of my favorite video themes that I do, which is my 10 most emotional moments. Now, I am going to try my darndest to get through this video without crying, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to pull it off. But I promise you, I am trying my hardest, okay? So let's dive into it. Let's get into my 10 most emotional moments of Spider-Man No Way Home. If this is your first time here, I'd love it if you'd take 1 second and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Let's get into it, guys. Hey, Tessa from Mama's Geeky here. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. Okay guys, so in case this is your first one of my emotional moments videos that you are watching, I need to let you know that emotions are all sorts of things. Happy, sad, angry. So it's not just going to be like all the heartbreaking moments, which trust me, there are a lot of them in this movie. But I chose to kind of give a variety of emotional moments. Also, this is not ranked in order of how emotional they are, but rather in order of when they occurred in the movie. Now, I will say it was very hard to whittle it down to just 10 emotional moments when it comes to Spider-Man No Way Home. I pretty much could have listed every major plot point in this movie and every side plot point in this movie. It was an emotional roller coaster. I was laughing, I was crying, I was cheering, I was screaming. I mean, and that's like throughout the entire movie. So listen, this movie is an experience. So hopefully you've already seen the movie if you're watching this video, because it is going to be filled with spoilers. Massive spoilers, guys. I'm diving into the most emotional moments, and yes, a lot of them come towards the end. So, and they are spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie yet, just bookmark this and come back later, okay, guys? I don't want to ruin this movie for you. But let's get into it. The first emotional moment I want to talk about is, it happened way earlier than I expected it to. I was like cautiously optimistic that it was true and it was going to happen. I think you guys all know what I'm talking about. Charlie Cox showing up as Matt Murdock. I was just like, ah! And started cheering. I was like, it's so exciting. And also that moment is so hilarious when he's sitting there just trying to explain to them what's going on. Ned, of course, is throwing things off completely. I loved that moment, and I loved seeing him in action as Daredevil just a little bit when he caught that brick when it came through. So that was definitely an exciting moment, and it just really started the ball rolling on what was to be an absolutely epic emotional roller coaster. So Charlie Cox showing up absolutely has to be on this list. I was over the moon excited. Next, we jump a little bit forward. We have all the villains coming in, and we have that moment where you get to see Norman Osborn. Now, Norman Osborn is one of my favorite villains. I love Green Goblin, but I love Norman just because of how troubled he is and his internal struggles, and he's just always been such a complicated villain, and that's what I really, truly love about his character in comics and in the movies. So the moment that I'm really talking about specifically is when he's sitting there and he goes to Aunt May for help. He said he sees Spider-Man on the sign for that place, for the feast, and he goes there so that he can like find Spider-Man. He wanted help. He's looking for help. He's reaching out for help, and he finds Aunt May there, who calls Peter. And it's just that moment in the kitchen where Peter's kind of like, this is not my problem, and Aunt May turns it around and kind of says, like, look at him, like he's not okay, right? He's lost, not just in the cosmos, but in his mind. He needs help, Peter, and we help people. So I just loved that moment. I thought it was a great moment, not only between Peter and Aunt May, but just a great moment for Norman, just showing how really, truly troubled he is. So that moment had to be on here, okay? Next, guys, we're just going to dive right into the meat and bones in it. I mean, I think we're halfway through the movie at this point, but when Aunt May dies, when Green Goblin kills her, right? You tried to fix me, I'm going to fix you. Like, I'm going to take away your heart, right? We attack the heart is what they say in the original movies, the original trilogy. And that part was heartbreaking because I was like, she's going to die. No, she's not. Maybe she is. No, she's like, she like gets up and she's like, fine. And then she's not. And then she gives the "with great power comes great responsibility" line, which I thought was amazing and a great way to introduce that into this trilogy. I'm trying really hard not to tear up already because I got a lot more to go. So maybe at the end I will get this. But so that's the next emotional moment. Tom Holland is phenomenal in that moment. He's amazing. It's heart-wrenching, but Happy pulls up and Happy sees and Happy knows what's going on. Like, that whole scene is just absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating. And the close-up on Marissa Tomei's face, like, it's just, it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching. But Peter needed that to propel him into who he's going to be. It's just like with Uncle Ben. Like, he needed this to get him there. And it sucks. Like, really sucks. But it's what was necessary. And, okay, I'm going to move on to the next most emotional moment, because this is an exciting moment, you guys. This was exciting. And the next two are like back-to-back, same scene. I don't care. They deserve their own spot on this list. And, of course, the next one is when Andrew Garfield shows up. When Ned is like, show me Peter. I just want to see Peter. And you see him, and he's far away. I was like, oh, no. And the way he's kind of looking. And then he hops through, and he rips his mask off, and you're just like, oh, Andrew Garfield is here. It's actually true. It's really happening. And then the conversation they have is hilarious, where MJ literally forces him to crawl on the ceiling, and then they ask him to get the cobwebs while he's up there. Like, what is happening? It was just so much fun. It was so amazing. I just loved it so much, and I was like, we're getting them so much earlier than I thought we were going to. Now, I did expect to have to wait a little while for what is my next emotional moment, but it rolls right on through, guys. Tobey Maguire shows up. That was insane. I love how he shows up just in like regular clothes, and they're like, "This is this random dude," and then it's like, "Oh, he's also Spider-Man." And the two of them go back and forth, and they have the little fight, and he's flinging webs, and he gets, and, you know, she's like, "Clean up your webs, clean up your mess." I loved that. I just thought that was amazing. I just really enjoyed seeing the two of them on screen together, let alone when we bring in Tom Holland. That whole thing is so great. Them there, okay? The next most emotional moment is when they go to find Tom Holland, Spider-Man, Peter, after he's dealing with Aunt May having died. He's ready to I'm just going to send you guys back. You know, this is not my problem. I don't care. You know, he's very down. And then you get that, oh, here we go. You get that moment between the three of them where you get to hear what Andrew's been doing. You get to hear how Gwen's death affected him, which we didn't get because we didn't get that third movie, which I really wanted. So he explains, you know, I stopped pulling my punches. You know, I went down this dark path, and then you have Tobey talking about what he went through, and you just get like a catch up on these characters and the three of them together. And then when he says, with great power comes great responsibility. How did you know that? Uncle Ben said it. He said it on the day he died. Maybe Aunt May didn't die for nothing. That moment is just so powerful. Absolutely so powerful, and obviously super emotional. It's so fantastic just to see them all together, all posing, you know. It's so great and so exciting, but also pretty heartbreaking because you're seeing Peter really down. We haven't seen Tom Holland's Peter this broken before. I mean, even with Tony, he wasn't this broken. And it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay. Next most emotional moment is just all of the spiders working together. So you've got the lab, which is hilarious. And then they have this conversation about Tobey and how his body can just make webs. And then you have them getting ready and preparing for this final battle. It's just all of them together. This is a collective, like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes of the movie that is just amazing. We see him fighting together, like kicking some serious villain butt together. It's amazing watching them work together. Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3, like they're yelling to each other and they're helping each other out, and it's just so, like, I was just perma-smile the whole time. Like, I can't believe I live in a world where I'm watching all three of them on the screen together, working together to take down all these villains. Like, what world do I live in, right? Like, this is amazing, okay? Absolutely amazing. What every Spider-Man fan has wanted, and just to see it played out is so incredible. So incredible. And then, of course, also in the same, it's like a little honorable mention, we get that hint at Miles Morales when Electro there says, you know, there's got to be a black Spider-Man somewhere. That was a lot of fun. Would have loved to see Miles show up in live action, but I will take that nod. It's kind of collectively into that whole working together moment. But one that needs to stand out and be its own thing. And I'm trying real hard not to cry. Is the moment that has been widely speculated since that latest trailer. And that is that that Andrew's Peter gets to save MJ. Okay, so you see MJ falling, and you see Tom's Peter try to get her, and he gets knocked out of the way, and Andrew sees her falling, and it's like you don't see Gwen Stacy, but you know that's what he's thinking. Rushes to get her and saves her, and when he lands and he has her and he says, "Are you okay?" and she says, "Yeah." "Are you okay?" Like, and his face, like, that moment was so amazing, because you just get this, like, he saved MJ for this Peter, and it brings you back to that moment, and you can see what it means to him on his face, and like, that is just, Andrew Garfield shines in that moment. I absolutely love that moment. It's one of my favorites of the whole movie. I know, like, every single thing is one of my favorites of the whole movie, but this is where it starts the, like, I don't know how I'm going to recover, because I'm a little bit broken from this movie right now, okay? So there's that moment. The next one is the goodbye. After Peter has decided that, I understand no one is going to remember me, but, like, I have to save the world. And when he's saying goodbye to MJ and to Ned, right? Like, he knows he's going to lose his girlfriend and he's going to lose his best friend, and they're not going to remember who he is. It's not like, oh, it'll go back to how it was before they found out he was Spider-Man. It's like, no, they're not going to remember him at all. And it's awful, right? It's absolutely heart-wrenching what Peter is willing to do, this sacrifice he's willing to make. And this is the Peter we all know and love from the comics. Like, this is him, right? He puts everybody before himself, and he is going to be alone, and that is okay with him, because he needs to save the world. Now, he's saying goodbye to MJ, and she says, "I don't want to do this. Isn't there another way?" And he says, "There isn't." And she's like, "You better come find me." And then when she tells him she loves him, and when he starts to say it, and she says, "Wait, tell me when you find me again. You come find me." That moment is so absolutely heart-wrenching, and that leads into the next most emotional moment and the final most emotional moment of Spider-Man No Way Home, and that is when Peter makes that ultimate sacrifice, right? He's walking around, you can tell he's excited, he's going to find MJ, he's going to talk to her, he's got his little note that says, "I'm Peter Parker," and whatever, and he goes and he sees her, and he sees that Ned is there, and at first you think she remembers him, and that broke me a little bit when you realize she's looking at Ned behind him. And he's like, "I'm Peter Parker, and I want a coffee." And she's like, "Okay, Peter Parker." And then he finds out the two of them got into MIT, and they're going to MIT together, which is what the dream of the three of them always was. And then he's about to try to explain stuff to her, and she pushes her hair back, and she has a Band-Aid on that cut from the big fight there. And he asks if she's okay, and she says, "It doesn't hurt anymore." And I think that's when he realizes that they're better off if they don't know. They're better off if they don't know him. So instead of going to Boston, and instead of talking to his friends and getting his friends back, he decides to let them go. They go to Boston, to MIT. He gets his own place in New York. He makes his own classic costume. He gets his police scanner, and he decides he's just there to save the world, because you know what? With great power comes great responsibility. And that moment is so emotional and so heartbreaking, but it's so Peter Parker, right? This is Peter Parker, and Tom Holland's journey to this part of his character is so incredible. It's kind of made everything else along the way that felt not really Peter Parker-y worth it. And while this could definitely be the end for Tom Holland's Peter Parker, I hope it isn't. I absolutely loved this movie. I love what it did for Peter. I love what it did for Spider-Man. This is the movie that Spider-Man fans are going to remember for a very, very, very long time. You guys let me know your emotional moments of Spider-Man No Way Home down below in the comments. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Mama's Geeky over there. MAMASGEEKY. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much to all of my monetary supporters, my members here on YouTube, as well as my patrons. If you haven't joined yet, please consider doing so. We have some really awesome perks, including a monthly Zoom meeting where we get to talk face to face. Thank you again to everyone who supports me.